Wow. Come back from a long vacation and get treated to Barry Manilow. Things are looking up. It's 18 after 7. Speaking of looking up, Mr. Positive, Dan in Sonoma.
Sean, Happy New Year to you. And
Happy New Year!
It is.
I don't have a noise
Before we get
maker.
to Claudine Gay, we're kind of off to a good start with her removal. Let's get to the Chicago shooting reports because there's been 2 weekends rather, that we've missed. And yes, I do keep track of these things even when we're on vacation. Christmas weekend, 19 shot, 3 dead. New Year's weekend, 18 shot, 2 dead. And it made me look at the murder totals of the big cities because, they're all run by Democrats. And I found a little list here. Now, here's the thing. Across the board, cities like Detroit and New Orleans and Miami and so forth, there's a comprehensive list I found, I think, on ABC. They're roughly down about 12%, which is obviously a good thing. But I don't consider, homicides are still over 600 in Chicago as opposed to 688, 709, as they said last year. That's down 12%. That's a good thing. But this is going to be one of those dirty tricks that Biden and the Democrats use going into 2024, that things are much, much better. And that they're just not. They're just not. There's no. I mean, I don't look at any of these numbers. What was it, Philadelphia, 403 this year? That's not acceptable. Oakland, well over 100, pushing 200 this year. That's not acceptable. So anyway, but that's not going to stop Biden and the news people that are supporting him to tout every little trick in the book. So be on the lookout for that.
So you're saying things are not really as good as they look.
Dirty little secret. You heard it here first.
They just keep saying, it's kind of like the old advertising shtick where you tell them, then you tell them what you told them.
Yes.
They just keep hammering away at the cell, and eventually somebody will fall for it. Unfortunately, this is ruining people's lives.
Yes.
And sadly,
okay.
I think that's their plan.
It's going to be an interesting year. I don't think I'll have time to get to my predictions of the year. I may. There's so many things on the caller prep board. We're not going to get to all of it today.
How about one prediction?
One prediction? Joe Biden will be the nominee.
Oh.
I'm the only one in the country saying that he will be the nominee
prediction.
Because the media has not turned on him, just like they did with Jimmy Carter back in the 70s. They turned on him. They haven't turned on him yet because keep in mind the voting fraud is still in place. The Republicans did nothing of that. Yeah, so nobody should. So anyway, that's my first prediction. We'll get to others later.
Lots of people are acting like they have forgotten that. And the COVID thing is ramping back up. And so we're going to have the mail-in stuff, and it's going to be the same thing as 2020. The Democrats will win.
Speaking of that, Katy Grimes still has an article up on California Globe. She did a one of her best pieces she's ever done. It was dated December 28th, and I consider it absolute required reading. It was a completely accurate description of Gavin Newsom, all the things he has done, including the nightmare that he was a huge part of regarding COVID and the lockdowns. Check that article out. It was fantastic. I've been meaning to respond to that, on the comment section here. It was a fantastic article, but no one should ever forget the evil that came down upon us, and especially with Gavin Newsom. Speaking of evil, let's talk about Claudine Gay.
Speaking of evil.
Yeah. By the way, Babylon Bee had a great piece, great headline rather. It said Hamas loses 2 of its best leaders in one day, including Claudine Gay, because she got axed the same day that this Hamas leader did.
Yeah. He's going to be here all week, folks.
Yes, I am, and they pay me handsomely.
Tip heavily.
They just do. Yes, they do. Claudine Gay is suffering from what I call the Tammy Haygood syndrome. If you remember Tammy Haygood, she was a former Register of Voters president or whatever. She was in charge of that in San Francisco. This is just after the 2000 presidential debacle with the hanging chads and all that. She was a black woman, lesbian. She completely incompetent, millions of dollars over budget, and in a rare showing of common sense, the San Francisco City Council fired her. Well, it didn't take but a couple of days for every black leader to come out of the woodwork to come to her defense, saying this was all racially motivated. It had nothing to do with all that. She was just incompetent. Same thing with Claudine Gay. Look at Al Sharpton coming out of the woodwork. Barack Obama, speaking in her behalf. And now
those two deserve each other.
These two men didn't say a word when Liz McGill was fired from Pennsylvania University because she's a white woman.
It's racism that got them in the position in the first place, not what got them out of the position.
True. Well, Livy, let me leave you on this for today, and we'll continue tomorrow. One of the things we should take away from this ouster, and she didn't resign, by the way. She was fired. Don't believe that. If you actually put pressure on these people, like Congresswoman Elise Stefanik did, the Republican Congresswoman, you get results.
Wow. So actually, there's a glimmer of hope, Dan.
See, I'm not completely negative all the time. There's some positivity in some of these calls. Not much.
A glimmer.
Just a glimmer. That's all I'm going to give you. That's all I got.
That's all the time we have. We have no time for other glimmers.
All right, we'll pick it up tomorrow. Thanks, bud.
Take care. It is AM 1380, The Answer. That was Dan in Sonoma. It is 23 after 7.